I've bought 16 rental properties with a dozen partners. And in this video, I'm gonna explain how I did it, how you can do it. But before diving in, I do you a disservice if I told you that this was easy. It wasn't. 4 of the 16 failed. One actually cost me $150,000 out of pocket, and I could have easily avoided that had I seen a video like this. Luckily, you don't have to make the same mistakes because I'm gonna break down the 7 big lessons that I've learned in growing a $10 million portfolio of rental properties. At the end of the video, I'm gonna share the step-by-step cheat sheet that I put together in how I did all this so that you can use it too to grow your portfolio. The first lesson I learned is if you wanna go fast, you can go alone, and then if you wanna go far, you almost have to go together. If you wanna build a huge portfolio. There's a lot of people that would rather just own one rental property and own 100% of it than own a whole bunch of them at 50%. But if you look at the richest business owners in the world, none of them own 100% of their companies. Like Elon Musk owns 13% of Tesla, Jeff Bezos, 9% of Amazon. And still, those are small slices that are worth like $100 billion or more. Real estate works the same way. By partnering up, you can scale further than if you were to go alone. When I first started, I was a broke college student. I had no money to invest. I had a mentor though that asked me a question. He said, would you rather own half a watermelon or an entire grape? And the answer was pretty obvious. And that brings us to number 2, which is resources. I was a broke college student, so I didn't have any money. Couldn't get a mortgage, but I had some other things that other people would want. And so this is the framework that we work through with resources. So we think there's really 2 different main categories. So you have money partners and you have active partners. So on the money partner side, you have money. So someone's bringing in the money for the down payment, the closing costs, the mortgage, the traditional mortgage, and then you have the time. Someone's gonna bring in their time, or their team's time, or their knowledge or their team's knowledge. So together, it's complementary, right? You're gonna maybe split it 50-50 or 60-40, whatever the case. We're gonna explain that next. And then you can create a joint venture deal together. That brings us into number 3. The next lesson is how do you split responsibilities? Who does what, and how do you actually split that equity so that both sides win, because you want to create a win-win. This is what I call the 4 M's of joint venturing. So for the 4 M's, we really split it into quadrants. And so the first quadrant is going to be your money. So whoever brings in the money for the down payment, the closing costs, the renovations, they get 25% equity and ownership. And cash flow as well, right? Whoever brings in the mortgage, that would be a traditional mortgage at like a decent interest rate, 25%. And then whoever brings in overseeing the management would be renovation management, property management, financial management, 25%. They don't have to do the accounting and the bookkeeping, but like they're overseeing the people that are doing that stuff. And then the last one is gonna be your market deal. So what is that? Well, it's a below market deal. Like it's a below fair market value. 10% off is like pretty standard. Maybe even 5% would be fine. Money's made on the buying real estate, so if you can get a nice discount and get some built-in equity, great, 25%. So this is the 4 M's of joint venturing, and that's really how we split it. It doesn't have to be 50-50. Again, it could be like 75-25, it just kind of depends. So with like the money partner and the active partner, they kind of need each other, right? So money without knowledge is losing value, and knowledge without money is just stuck. But together they can really make something happen. So this actually brings us into number 4, which is, okay, now that you understand the structuring of it, how do you actually like select a partner? And this is where it gets nitty gritty, and I have some life experiences to share. Basically, joint ventures, they can be amazing. Like they can grow a huge portfolio and you can do a lot more together. Or it can be a complete nightmare if you choose the wrong people to partner with. Think about marriage. Like half of first marriages fail. Second marriages are like, I think it's a 67% fail rate for second marriages. And these are people that love each other. So now just imagine going into business with someone you barely know, no contract, no clear roles. It's just a complete disaster waiting to happen. I know because I've made mistakes myself. The right partner can accelerate your success, take you a lot further. The wrong one can cost you a lot of time, money, and a whole lot of headaches and slow you down. So before you jump into a joint venture, you gotta know what their expectations are and set those clear expectations in the agreement. Everything's in writing. I've made the mistake myself of partnering with someone that I didn't know well, and I failed to set those proper expectations. Here's the example. So at first, it seemed great. We ended up finding and analyzing a deal, closing on the deal, and then once we closed, they wanted to live in one of the units. Little did I know that they wanted to live rent-free. And because of that, it put the property into a cash flow negative position. I had to fork over the money to keep it afloat. So a lesson here is always to put everything in writing, be very clear at the beginning before going to buy the property. Now, how do you find a JV partner? So that's gonna be number 5, which is connections. It's the people that you know, right? And so you think of it this way, here's the framework I have for it. There's really 3 different groups of connections, just like on LinkedIn. If you think of like, on LinkedIn you have first connections, second connections, and third connections, right? So it's really 3 main circles of influence. So your first connections are your friends, your family, colleagues even, people that already know, like, and trust you, you already have a good established relationship with. These are my favorite to partner with. But then you have second connections. These are going to be like friends of friends. It's kind of like a referral basis. You might not know them well, or they might not know you well yet, but you want to get to know them, right? And build that relationship to bring them into the first circle. Third circle is like 99.99% of people in the world. These are strangers, people that you don't know yet. They don't know you yet. But again, like if you can tap into these people and bring them over into here, that's a whole lot of unlimited opportunity. I consider, again, like my first circle to be, my first connections to be the best, right, to work with. And realistically, for the trust to be there, you need to really get to know a person and have them become somewhat of like a friend before you do an investment deal together, right? So not all partners are good partners, like, and that actually leads me into number 6. So number 6 is red flags. What do you look for and how do you screen and vet people, right? So red flags. The wrong partner can cost you a lot of time, money, and sanity. Trust me, I learned this the hard way. I lost $150,000 because I assumed my JV partner would cover the home equity line of credit interest, right? At the end of the day, that was on me because, again, I didn't clarify in writing who does what and what happens. I also had a situation where one of the partners actually that we had given equity to, because he was a contractor to do a renovation, and he would reduce the cost of the renovation. And so in exchange, we gave him equity to reduce the cost. And it saved us like $50,000 hypothetically. But then he ended up going and outsourcing it to external companies, and we paid a heck of a lot more for the reno. On top of that, we had to buy him out. So again, over time, you kind of learn to recognize these red flags and what ends up happening. So not everyone is going to be a good partner. And over time, you learn to recognize the red flags so that you can save yourself from bad partnerships. One is that they have no clear goals. And if they don't know what they want, expect problems later. If they push money on you fast, desperation is just a bad sign. If they want to avoid contracts and agreements, like don't do the deal, period. These are things that can help you to kind of steer in the right direction and make sure that you're not making these costly JV mistakes. So that actually brings us into number 7, which is the step-by-step that we have for systems. So I've done hundreds of meetings with prospective JV partners, and through that, we've really dialed in, I would say, like an entire format, a step-by-step that you guys can use here. This is gonna show you the actual how. So you can go from learning into actually applying. So the link's gonna be down below in the description. Just go, and that's for free, right? Just go and use it. That's what we've used and what hundreds of our clients at rentalconsultant.com have used to find partners, structure deals from start to finish. And so grab that link below, and also comment, like if you have any questions, what's your biggest question around JV partnerships? Don't forget to subscribe. We're gonna come up with more videos about building wealth through rental properties.